Understanding before repetition. Ren, the name that shapes the mind. You know, I have a question that very few people ever stop to ask themselves. Why do you use the word God? Not why your parents used it, not why your church uses it. Why do you use it? If you cannot explain the history of the word you speak, then perhaps you inherited more than a vocabulary. Perhaps you inherited an entire worldview. Understanding is always more valuable than repetition. A parrot can repeat words. Wisdom requires knowing what the words actually mean, where they came from, why they survived, and what they were intended to replace. The term God comes to us through a European linguistic tradition. That is history. It is part of the history of English and related Germanic languages. When you use that word, you are also using a particular cultural expression that has traveled through centuries of theology and European civilization and the development of Christianity in Europe. Whether a person regards that word as sacred is a matter of their own faith. My question is different. Why was this particular Ren repeated until it became normal, while other names faded from common use? This is why understanding Ren matters so deeply. A name is never just a sound. A name carries memory. A name carries history. A name carries a worldview. Whoever succeeds in preserving a name across generations also helps preserve the ideas, symbols, rituals, and imagination connected to that name. That is why civilizations have always protected their languages, renamed places, and passed down ceremonies. Think about it. If one people repeat God for centuries, while another repeat Ra, Amun, or another ancestral name, they are not only repeating different sounds, they are participating in different cultural memories. Every repeated name strengthens a particular legacy. Every repeated ritual reinforces a particular identity. The phrase, Heavenly Father, the Lord's Prayer, and baptism, these are not merely sentences. They are European Ren rituals. They are repeated patterns of language that reinforce a particular religious tradition and worldview. Every civilization has rituals of this kind. The question is not whether rituals exist. The question is, do you understand the rituals you participate in? Or are you only repeating them because they were repeated to you? Now, black man, ask yourself, why was it so important for colonizing powers to replace so many indigenous names, languages, and rituals with their own? If names carry memory, identity, and worldview, what happens when those names are replaced? Has the inheritance become so familiar that many black people now defend inherited European Ren terms without ever asking where they came from or why they replaced the original ones? Ask yourself another question. If humanity speaks thousands of languages, why should one culture's vocabulary become the universal vocabulary for everyone? Reality never spoke English. The sun never introduced itself by an English title. The earth never announced its own name. Humanity created the vocabulary. Reality continued existing before every language, and it will continue after every language. This is why I encourage people to understand language before defending it. Every civilization developed names according to its own history. Those names belong to cultures. Reality belongs to itself. The deepest form of freedom is not changing one word for another out of emotion. The deepest freedom is becoming conscious of why you speak the words you speak. Once understanding arrives, your vocabulary becomes a choice instead of an inheritance. I am not interested in policing language. I am interested in awakening awareness. If you continue using a word after understanding its history, that is your decision. But let it be an informed decision rather than an inherited reflex. There is a profound difference between speaking with awareness and merely repeating what generations before you repeated without examination. Never allow tradition to replace understanding. Never allow repetition to replace investigation. Learn the history of every important word that shapes your life, because the moment you understand the origin of a name, you begin understanding the civilization that carried it. Tell me the names you repeat every day, and I will show you the stories that have shaped your imagination. But tell me the names you have investigated, and I will show you a mind beginning to awaken. Master your Ren. Master your rituals. Master your understanding.